Hello and welcome back. This video is going to be all about wiring up the dash. We're going to be showing the multimeter how to check the switch to find out where the connections are. Going to eliminate a lot of the wires behind this and put them together a little bit, maybe show you the wiring diagram or something, but it's kind of a longer video, but it's going to simplify the dash altogether. So thank you very much for liking and subscribing. All the new subscribers, the old subscribers, you guys are all awesome. Thank you very much. Remember to like and subscribe and share to all your pals. Thank you very much and enjoy the video. Okay, so let's look at the dash here. Here's the dash thing. We have our fuel gauge, ampermeter, which I don't plan on hooking up because I'm going to rewire everything differently. Your high beam or main beam right here. You have your, oh, here. Actually, when I bought it years ago, I drew this up so I knew what the lights were on the dash and what the knobs were for, because nothing's really marked. So we'll go over these here as we're going here. So again, like the gauges, then we have our charging light here. This is for the interior light for a station wagon. This is your ports, your positive, negative ports to check the voltage or power. I don't know if I'll hook these up. That might be a future thing. And then we have our oil pressure light, our key, headlights, marker lights, ignition on and off, speedometer, only 62,000 miles. And then our glow plug light, which is different for a diesel. And then our fuel light, low fuel level light. And again, that's another diesel thing. So these are both two diesel options. And this turns on your lights just here on the dash and turns them off. So if we flip it over, here's what we're going to be working with. We're going to be changing all these wires out. So what I'm going to do to make it easier is I'm going to mark on the back what each one of these are, these lights and everything. So like the oil pressure one, I'm going to put oil back here because nobody's never going to see this except for me. So then I know while I'm working what I'm doing. I'll be right back. All right, so in the back, I wrote down all the different pieces and what they are for oil and all this kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to disconnect these wires, the different wires, and I'm going to take the Dremel and clean up. See how nasty those connectors are? They're not really all that clean, and they're just going to give problems. So I'm going to clean these up, clean up these threads here too, so I can take these off here because they're pretty rusted. But I'll be right back. So I got all the plugs taken out, all the lights, and then I marked what each one is for the oil and so on. So what I did is I took the Dremel with a brush on it, one of these brushes, and just put it on low and polished up all the plugs going around. You can see there, they cleaned up pretty nice, all of them, all around. So that makes it a lot nicer whenever you go to test things and see how things work, and if things work. So let's go. All right, so that's done. So I'm not sure about where the switch is, which one, what controls what in the back. And then again, that's something I can't ever find online or anything. So we're gonna grab the old multimeter here from your free multimeter that you can get from Harbor Freight. It works just as good as the expensive ones. They work just fine. So let's take a look at the switch, and then we're going to test out these lights and see if they work. I have a 12-volt battery. I'm going to try to test these out and see if the beam works, high beam works, and then we'll be testing to see if the lights work as well, all those. So let me see if I move the camera here. All right, so here's just a little basic of electricity. So this is called a multimeter, and I have it on the ohms setting. I have it on the 20K ohm setting. And what that does is just going to show you conductivity. So see how it says 1? It means there's nothing going on. So when I touch these together, see it jump? Now it goes to 3. Now I let go. and then they come together. So if they're not connected, this doesn't jump. If you have a fancy one, it'll beep and let you know you have continuity. Okay, so the switch on the back here, this is what we're going to look at. So I know from, I tested it before I got on here. So this here is the positive. This is where all your power is going to go in right here into the switch, or these two tabs right here. So if we have this on here, you stick that here, I'll just set it right here. So we know we're going to be connected onto here, okay? So if I turn the key, everything's off right now. So you can see on the meter, nothing's jumping. Nothing's jumping. Because everything is off. The key's off and the headlights are off. I almost want to, let me get it a little closer. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see everything here. But the yellow wire is now connected to the other end of the meter. So we know that this is, the 2 pins here are the positive where it's going to be coming in from the fuse box. So then we have these guys around here. So if I turn the key on, I'm just turning it on to the on position. Let's see which one is your on in your power. See, nothing jumped on that tab. It didn't jump. Nothing jumped. There we go. See that there? Do you see the meter move? So that works with the key. Then these ones over here, they don't do, it doesn't do anything. So the key works, these two up here. So we're going to mark on the side. I'm going to put an eye on the side of the side here. Okay, so I got an eye on the side, so I know that that's ignition. So whenever I turn the key on, that turns on the ignition. So let's go and I'll turn on the headlights with the key off. So the key is off, and the headlights should turn on, right? Without the key. So this one, nope, oh, there we go. So this one here, nothing. Nothing, 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 and nothing. So it looks like we need to turn the key on with the headlights on markers, because now we want to find out what the markers are. So we should have ignition, which is right here. This guy, if I look at it, get it going, there we go. So we got these connectors over here, there we go. The connectors on this side have some continuity to it, has power going to it. Then this one has nothing. And this one has, oh, that has something. There we go. So there and here, both turn on with the marker lights. Yep, so there's one, and then this double one over here turns on with the marker lights. So I have a feeling this is our last tab right here. And let me stick that in there. Let's see if I turn it on headlights, if it turns on. There it is. Yep. So this one's headlights. Oh, that one turned off with the headlights. Oh, they both turned off with the headlights. Did you see that? So headlights are here. Marker light. Marker, oh, no. That one still does have juice to it. Okay, so this one turns off down here with the headlights when the headlights turn on. Okay. So I go to marker light. The headlights should be off on this one. Marker light is on, and this one's on for markers. Headlights. Okay, that's the headlight one. Marker light, this one turns off completely, so that must be the reason why, because it's an American truck, maybe? Okay, so in America, when in the American market, for some reason, you have your headlights, your marker lights, and then your rear marker lights. So in America in the 60s, for some reason, whenever you turned on your headlights, they wanted the marker lights to turn off in the front, which this is also happens on my Volkswagen as well. So it's an odd thing that they do that or whatever, but I'm going to keep the markers on in my truck in the front and the rear. So I'm going to be hooking it up to here and not hooking anything up to this at all. So, okay, we got ignition. I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to mark around the outside of all the way around so I know what each one of these connectors are. So next we're going to be checking these lights out. So let's take a look at the lights, and I'm going to plan on putting a ground right here because these threads are, this was where the original ground was for everything, and the threads are all messed up. So I cleaned this up and I'm going to be putting the ground on here. So this connected to a 12-volt battery, putting it on there. I'm going to turn it around here. Let's turn some lights off. Let's see if we can get something to work. See, gauge light. Yep, we got a gauge light. Let's see, let's get even more effective here. Gauge light. Oh yeah, nice and dim. And we got our other gauge light. That lit up pretty good. Barely. Yeah, a little bit. Let's see the high beams here. Yep, we got high beams. Okay, let's see if we can get these lights working here. I snipped them all, I cut them all off and stripped back the wires a little bit. Yep, there you go, that one works.
That works. Hey, they're working. There you go.
Working. Nice, so all the dash lights work. I have the back all put back together. I put all the lights back in, all the marker lights. So, and I connected this over to the panel light over here. Then, so right now, I'm kind of at the point where I can start connecting some wires. So I want this to be able to kind of be a plug and play with the truck. So we'll go over to the truck and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you could see how the panel is sitting here over in the truck, okay? So what I'm going to do is I want to, so whenever this is sitting up here and it's installed, and I find out, oh man, I got to go fix something. I could put 2 pieces of wood down underneath here, unscrew the cover here, put it down like this, and then have enough wire that it'll reach up into the fuse box, into the relays I plan on putting in here and the fuse box on the other side. But then I can disconnect whatever wire is here that's connected to this, and I'll be able to take the whole thing off real easily. So I'm going to put like little pieces of wire about this long or whatever, about this long, you know, coming off, so then it can connect to the main harness that I'm going to be making, coming out like through these holes and stuff like that. So that's why you'll see I'll be making some little wires coming off there. All right, let's go back to the workbench. If you emailed me for a copy of the wiring diagram, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Well, this is what it looks like. So some things I just want to point out, like from whenever I start talking about the back end, but you can kind of see the different colors I have here. Green, brown, blue, green, red, gray, gray, and different colors for the fuel gauges and stuff like that. So this kind of gives you the back view of the gauge clusters if you're looking at it. So you got your ignition, your red coming in, your power, going out to the different points that we already tested on with our multimeter. And things like the dynamo light, and like I won't be hooking up the interior lights or the 12-volt socket, but I will be hooking up the oil light, so this will be going over. But this is, if you're looking at the diagram while you're following the video, you'll see that there's all the different colors. There's the high and all the different colors. So it's like, for example, coming over here, the red wire comes over to the dash switch, which goes to the gray. It comes over to this switch. So whenever I'm showing it to you, it'll get kind of confusing. But if you have this, or if you're kind of looking at it, or if you're wondering how to do something that I'm doing, just take a look at the diagram, and it should point you in the right direction. All the wire leads are now connected as the wiring diagram. So I'm going to go over just some of the pieces and parts or whatever. So we'll start up here in the corner. This is the panel light, and the two red lights, two red wires here, go over to the panel light switch. So when you turn your headlights on, your panel lights, you can turn them on and off. I don't know why Land Rover did that, but I guess it's an option you could have done or whatever. So the power that's coming to it is coming over from the switch down here. Whenever you turn the headlights on or parking lights or marker lights, this one over here turns on over on this side. So I have that connected to here. And then, okay, so we got that. And then we have our low fuel light over here. And the color, this is one of the wires that I took away from, or scavenged from the old harness. It's green and blue. It's green with a blue stripe. So that'll plug into the wire going to the gauge. Then this is going to come from the fuse box for a positive power. Down here, we have our glow plug light. And we'll be talking about that in another video and how wiring that up. But the glow plug light comes in here with a positive, lights up the dash, and I have this coming over to the ground spot right here. So as the ground location, I put this as the ground location. So then from here, I have a ground wire, which is, this is going to then go over to a grounding block that you seen in the other videos. So this is going to go over to there, so it'll ground the whole assembly here, right to a good ground. Okay, as we're working across, we've got the oil pressure light. So green, red, green, and yellow go to the switch, according to the Land Rover diagram. And then orange I have coming from the fuse box for power. Come over here, the grounds, like I said. Let's see, what we got here? High beams. This is the high beam indicator. So I'm going to be having this going to a switch on the dash, and then blue with white stripes is according to the diagram. So I kept that the same. I have that going into here. Then this actually grounds just through the panel itself, through the gauge, over to this ground here. So that'll be going to there for the high beams. Then over here is the generator light or dynamo. And yellow goes over to the regulator. Then this is going to be a positive power from the fuse box. You got that there. And the altimeter here, I'm not going to be hooking that up right now. And then this is the power for the two plugs in the dash. This is for the interior light, which is something I'm going to hook up later. It's simple power. I'll just run a wire here from the fuse box up into the interior light. So that's something I probably going to work on later. And then the fuel gauge here, I'm going to have a wire coming right from the fuse box over to here. And then this will be connected right over to, going right out to the fuel gauge. So I didn't do, these are going to be direct connects. So that's why I didn't make any little pieces on that one. And then, what do we got? The gauge here, not the gauge, but the ignition wire. We'll have the positive coming in. That'll be coming right from the fuse box, the hot side of the fuse box. So then it'll then do the ignition coming over here. That'll go over to the actually glow plugs relay to turn that on and turn on everything else too. This is actually going to go over to a relay that turns on the ignition side of the fuse box. So that's going to do that relay. And then headlight ones, we'll do that, we'll show that again later or whatever. The headlight one's gonna go over to a relay that I have for the headlights. Okay, and also, all these little guys kept falling out, all these lights. So I took the Mrs. hot glue gun and I put a little hot glue gun around here to hold them in place so they don't keep falling out, which was driving me crazy. So the gauge cluster in the back is all complete. All the lights work. I already tested all the lights and everything, so they're all working and everything. So the gauge cluster is done at this point. The wiring is done for the dash. I know this was a long video and everything, but it's done now. So the wiring is done basically for the gauge cluster altogether. So besides plugging in those other pieces that'll be coming, but we'll talk about those later. But so this is pretty much done. I'm going to leave it how it is, kind of ratty looking, I guess, the old look to it or whatever. So this is the end of the video. Thank you guys if you actually made it to the end of the video, because this was very long, and I wanted to get as much detail out there for the wiring, because a lot of times it gets very confusing on things. So thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and you guys are awesome. Comments are great. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm going to have my email down in the comments. And also, if you want the wiring diagram, I'll also email that to you too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.